Hi everyone, this is Radull Live. Thanks for joining us. I hope you're enjoying the new year. Now, joining me today is one of Kenya's top golfers. I'm sure you've heard of him before. His name is Greg Snow. Hi Greg, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. Welcome to Radull Live. By the way, there's a whole generation that if they talk about Kenyan golf, it's Greg Snow. Just like now, if you talk about tennis, it's Angela. If you talk about rugby, it's Collins, Yeah. So well done for that. But tell us how you got started in golf. Where did it start and where did you decide I'm going to do this professionally?
I took it up from my dad. He used to go play and I used to go with him in the mornings on a Sunday. So I just started following him and picked it up from there really. Started playing competitively when I was about 10, 11.
Wow.
All these little junior events and stuff like that. And then took it up professionally. Well, I got serious with it when I was 16. I went to the UK, played a bit of county golf and got a bit of exposure out there. And then I went to America on a golf scholarship for 3 years.
Fantastic, fantastic. Were there enough tournaments though? I mean, you said you played a few here and there, but if there's anything I learned last year I did Safaricom golf and I was way in over my head, but I learned a thing or two throughout the year, and a lot of the young people I spoke to, they said there are not enough tournaments for the very young, like under 8, under 10, under 12.
No, there isn't. I think there's probably about 6 on the calendar, which is not enough. And those are tournaments that happen during their like school holidays and stuff like that. But it's not enough tournaments for them.
When you go through your career, because there's a time you're the only name I knew in golf, what are some of the highlights of your golfing career? When did you win your first tournament, and which one was it?
It was actually the boys' championship here when I was 13. I won my category, and it gave me encouragement now to take it seriously.
And how did you feel? I mean, how did you feel winning your first tournament?
Oh, you feel great. I mean, there's nothing better than winning your first event. Makes you also want to get more motivated and practice more.
And when you're 13, were you up against other 13-year-olds or you were already in the big league?
No, we were.
Because I know you were quite young when you're already playing with adults in quotes.
Yeah. I mean, but when I was 13, I was playing obviously with a few other 13-year-olds, but we're not that many in the junior tournaments at the time.
So a lot of people who try to get into golf, they're like, golf is a rich man's sport, in quotes. But I see people like Safaricom, people like the Junior Golf Foundation trying to open it up to more people. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good thing. I mean, that's what we need now for golf in this country to develop. Having sponsors like those and bringing up all these little events for people to get more exposure and play week in, week out more often.
So take me through your career from 13. When was your next big event?
13 was 16 when I went to actually played for Kenya in the All Africa Junior Championships in Elephant Hills in Zimbabwe. I was ranked number 2 in Africa as a junior at the time, so that was a good thing. And then after that, I went to the World Cup with a team, under 18 team, to Japan, which was the second team in the country that had ever been to Japan. That
was an achievement. That was a major achievement.
Yeah.
But when you travel, especially when you were much younger, when you see what's out there, I mean, how would you compare? I don't even know if I should mention this. The infrastructure, the golf infrastructure out there and in Kenya.
Completely different. They got all the facilities, they got all the equipment, they got all the shirts. They're given free. I mean, they don't have nothing to worry about. They got good coaching. They got good facilities, like I said, and that's a big key which we don't have here. I mean, like building an academy or stuff like that. We need one of those here for us, I think, to develop golf in this country.
Yeah, because there's still no academies for golf. And I know we have, I think it's Vipingo and probably one or two of these others, but those courses are not accessible to the average Kenyan.
Exactly, and that's a big problem, I think. We need to set up something like that. I think they wanted to set up something in Lenana, but I don't know if that kicked on. But yeah, we need something like that. I mean, to get talent and see what talent their country has to offer.
So from 18, next big events, I want to know the highlights of your career. Up until, I think even this year, you are still winning tournaments.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of them. Let people get to know Greg Snow.
Came back from America. I mean, I was All-American. I was ranked 6th in America out of all the universities.
Wow.
So I finished 6th in nationals. I was 2nd in state championships, conference, regionals. Came back 10 professional. Started playing around Europe a bit. Pretty costly. I didn't have a sponsor then, but it was really costly. So I went to Europe for about 8 weeks. Played in Europe. Yeah, found it a bit hard traveling by yourself, getting to know new people from other countries. It's like you see the people that you sit with at dinner, like all the English guys would sit with the English guys, all the French would sit with the French, Spanish.
Whoa. So and then there's Greg.
So it was a bit difficult, but it was a good experience. Yeah, so turned professional. Then I think I won my first professional event when I was 20. After my second appearance, yeah. I was doing the KCB golf tour, yeah. So it was.
When you travel, because when you see all these others, where you're saying the French, the English, are they managed? Are you managed? As in, what do they travel with and what do you travel with? I remember speaking to one of our tennis players and she was saying that they have a manager, they have a fitness coach, they have a nutritionist, they have this whole list, and she has her coach who's supposed to do it all.
Exactly. She's lucky she has a coach to do it all. When I went on tour, it was just me by myself.
What?
Doing my own flights, doing my own hotels, entering events.
Not even someone from Golf Union?
No, nobody at that time, no. So when I travel individually, I had to do everything for myself, booking flights. This week you're in Spain, from Spain you go to Austria, stuff like that. You had to do it all by yourself. I mean, I didn't have a manager, I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a nutritionist or a psychologist.
Paying for yourself?
Yeah, paying for myself.
Oh!
I didn't have a sponsor at the time, so yeah.
And then you come back to Kenya and we're like, hey, Team Kenya. It makes me sick. It really makes me sick. We do things so back to front.
Yeah, but I think we need to find a management group in this country that can manage all sports, like pick up like different various talents from different sports and take them to the next level, like a group like IMG or RMS.
Yeah,
something like that, I think that's what we need most importantly. Yeah.
Actually, I hear that a lot from athletes, especially Kenya's short distance athletes. I know there's this company called DBA Africa, but they're so rugby oriented and they're like, no, we haven't yet started other sport. But you're so right. We don't have one management company that manages athletes.
No, we don't. I think if we got that, then I think it would be a lot easier for all these talented sports people out here.
Because I think what we don't realize, even as fans, is the elements that go into becoming a professional athlete. We see you and your golf club and your golf ball. But as you've just mentioned, there are flights, there's accommodation, there's food, there's physiotherapy, there's... What goes into being a professional golfer? Let people understand from you, not from me who doesn't play golf.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, you need all those things. I mean, you don't need to worry about when you're going to book your next flight. You need to be more focused on what you got to do a task. So having those people obviously is going to be really important, or a management group per se, to help you get to the next level. I mean, people are still buying golf shirts as professionals in this country. They're still buying golf balls, they're still buying golf clubs, shoes. I mean, like all these management groups around the world, you don't have to get that. I mean, management group comes and says, listen, I'll get you an endorsement deal with Under Armour.
And yet you
don't have to worry about paying for shirts and all that. I mean, Under Armour give you everything for free. I mean, what does it cost Under Armour to give you a shirt?
And yet you're at the top of your game. So imagine those who are struggling to even make it.
Exactly. So it's challenging, but I honestly think that's the only way forward for any sport in this country. I mean, to develop is by getting like management groups out here and everything else falls into place once you have those people. I mean, they just take care of what happens outside the ropes.
And you can focus.
And then you can actually all you got to do is just do whatever you got a task.
All right, well, I wanted to take a very quick break, exactly 30 seconds. And then when we come back, I want to know more of what we can do, media, fans, government. I think you've already mentioned corporate. So let's take a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. This is Radull Live. I am with Greg Snow, and I hope you've been listening. Kenya, Greg, welcome back. We have the worst fans in this country because we don't do anything until you prove yourself. You know, it's like we work back to front. I sat here with, I think, Ferdinand Omanyala before Olympics, and nobody even cared to even watch the show. I sat here with Angela before she went to Australian Open, and now is when people listen. So what would you like fans of the game or fans of your sport to do in order to encourage not just you, but young golfers who are coming up? I can see you've been hardened in the sport. But the young ones who will probably give up along the way, because I'm assuming somewhere along the way you probably wanted to give up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have that positive energy from your fans, and I feel like the fans sometimes criticize the locals more than they do like anybody else. So I think, yeah, just positive energy would be good.
And they criticize not understanding what you go through.
Yeah, exactly. You know? I mean, just hearing it from other people, and only the bad things and not the good things. They don't talk about the good things more than they do the bad things.
And corporate Kenya, who always, by the way, they operate the same way. I don't really blame them because they're businesses. They're here to make money. But they sort of operate the same way. They wait for you to become a success on your own and then want to ride on your coattails.
Yeah, I mean,
but don't insult them because you need them.
No, I won't insult them. No, just like, yeah, I mean, they want to be there for you when you're doing good, but it'd be nice for them to be there with you at the start and then bring you up as together. You know what I mean?
I always say that you feel I would be ashamed to celebrate in your success knowing I had no hand in it.
Yeah.
But I want to ride on it because I think that's the wrong way. And journalists, we are as guilty as corporates and fans because it's the same thing. We don't bother to understand, and that's why I started this show, to try and understand what athletes go through to become who they are today. What would be your wish list for Kenyan golf and for you as an individual?
Obviously, get more sponsors involved as a professional. I mean, in terms of like the money we play for in tournaments, I feel like we're not playing for enough money and not enough events in a year coming up to the Kenya Open. I think we only have probably about 7 events, whereas the Europeans that we compete with into the Kenya Open are coming in with about 20, 25 events. So they're already groomed into, that's why we don't perform, is what I think. Coming to the Kenya Open, there's not enough playing week in, week out.
Your preparation has been nowhere near the same.
You're preparing too late for the event, if that makes sense. So I think, yeah, we need to have a schedule that starts the whole year round, straight from January, not starting in mid-season from October, November, and squeezing in 3 events before Christmas, and then you've got 4 events before the Open. I mean, there's not enough time to compete with these guys. There's a lot of good players out there now. So you really got to be in that group. So yeah, just get more sponsors involved and give us more money, motivates us more even to practice.
Proper prize money.
Yeah, I mean,
we have it. It resurfaces sometimes. We have it.
I mean, just give us a full schedule. I mean, corporates could also help out in that, and the government as well. But yeah, so just get us good sponsors. Get a nice good tour that we can have out there, and obviously, like I mentioned, a management group.
What's in store for you 2023?
Qualified for the Kenya Open, obviously, and then we have a series that was coming up to the top 8 that get into the Kenya Open for next year. So we've got 4 more events left starting second week of Jan, leading up to the Kenya Open, and then from the Kenya Open, we'll see how things go. Obviously, it all depends. I mean, you have a good week in the Kenya Open, then you can go start playing out in Europe, but maybe play South Africa a bit next year. Go down to South Africa. But it all depends on how I perform in the Kenya Open. That determines all my season for next year.
Does one 4-day tournament actually determine? Of course, I mean it does because it's a world event. But if you perform badly at that one tournament, does that mean your whole year or your whole season goes to hell?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it really just doesn't give you getting into enough big tournaments for the year. You got to start pre-qualifying for those events. But if you have a good week in just 4 days for a good week, and then in that one tournament, it could be career changing.
Then people invite you to these other tournaments.
Yes, if you have a good week and you start getting more sponsors invites into other events outside Africa, or playing the big boys league, if you know what I mean. But in general, yeah, you just gotta have a good week during the Kenya Open. So it's a good stepping stone for you to go forward in a career changing week.
Do you rely 100% on golf, or you have to have in quotes, real job?
No,
I always put it in quotes because golf should be a real job.
No, I rely on 100% of.
100% on golf, and it's managed to sustain you.
Yeah. Good question. Well, I'm here living,
You're not hungry. You're not going hungry.
No.
But unfortunately,
But it could be better.
it's few and far between. Absolutely, and you're one in 1,000 or 2 or 10,000 Kenyans. How many Kenyan golfers can say I rely on golf 100%? Unless you train. Do you coach as well? Do you?
Sometimes, yes, I do. Give coaching, yeah.
So do you want to go into coaching?
Preferably not, but maybe
But
one day I would.
sometimes it pays the bills.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, but golf is the best sport because there's like no retirement age.
I think that's true, actually. Till you what, 60, 70?
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I love doing it. I'd rather be at the golf course and sitting behind an office, to be honest with you.
Would you encourage your family to also get into golf?
Yeah, I would. Definitely. I mean, I don't see
When the time comes?
It's a good networking golf, playing outside, meet different people. Yes, I would.
Who are your world idols?
It's obviously Tiger Woods, Severiano Ballesteros. Fortunately, he passed away 4 or 5 years ago, but he was one of my favorite golfers.
All right. Well, word of advice, simply because you're sitting here, for any young...
I mean, you got to work hard. Just keep at it. Whatever you do in life, just keep working hard and be positive.
Yeah, I saw lots of young golfers last year during the Safaricom Golf Tour. There was young as 6, 7, 8, all starry-eyed. And unfortunately, speaking to a lot of their parents, they're like, I'm only letting them play now because golf builds character. But when they have to finish school, they have to get real jobs. So unfortunately, not even the parents were there to encourage and say, my child can do this which is unfortunate. But it's good if there are people like you who've actually played and experienced.
Yes.
And you can advise the next generation.
Absolutely. I mean, just keep at it and be positive about what you do.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Greg Snow finally came on Radull Live. Thank you so much for gracing us. We haven't had, I think you're the 3rd golf show we've had.
Really?
In 2 years. Oh, don't scream at me. At least we're having them. Because I want people to know and understand more about what's happening in our sport. But I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best as you prepare for the qualification for Kenya Open throughout that week. We'll probably come down there and catch you actually in action so that, we can give Kenyans a tutorial.
Definitely.
How to play golf.
Me.
Karibu sana. And thank you for watching Radull Live. I hope you've learned a thing or two. And you've heard from Greg Snow. Kenya has this talent, man. We have talent, but we need to find a way to nurture it. We need to provide the facilities. We need to give them money and we need to support them as fans. But thanks for watching Radull Live. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.